Okay.
All right, we're recording call one of Zero to Hero and virtual parties. Some of you are already heroes. Some of us are not started at all. Some people are somewhere in the middle, but we're excited. So we're using Zoom. If we mute you, don't be offended because sometimes there's some static going on with this many people. We are recording so you can play back if it feels like, that went a little too fast for me, or to use this to help some of your team members as well. So I see a lot of names on here. If you want to, and we'd love it if you would go down to the lower left and click the little video camera so we can actually see your faces. That's always wonderful and nice to see people's faces who we're talking to. And I'm Sherry Carr. I'm glad to be here. I feel somewhat like a new consultant, not brand new, but new to the virtual party business. Over this last few months, we've been hearing so much about the success of virtual parties and the growth in the business just happening exponentially with people who've really grabbed a hold of the virtual party business for a couple of reasons. One, I think many consumers want to shop now from their computer, their home. They're very, very busy. So when they can't go to a party or they don't have time, it's nice that we can give them a second option of a way to shop. And also it gives us a second way of doing business. If you love your Pampered Chef parties, if you love being with people, by all means do that. If you want a second means of selling and increasing the paycheck, by all means, really take a look at this virtual business. I think this is really a game changer when it comes to that. So that's a little bit about why. I mean, if there's been, I've got notes, so I'm going to kind of go through them. Impressive growth, impressive numbers. We had a speaker at our executive seminar, Love Carpenter, who really talked about how she went from kind of zero to hero, which is kind of why the name came. And she said at first, like, okay, I'm doing some parties, but it's just not working. What's wrong with me? I'm not having success like Steve Dupolsky or Becky Adams. Or finally she said, okay, why not me and why not now? So she dug her heels in and she really went all out for virtual parties because she felt like she needed to be successful at them in order to teach that and to lead a team that was growing really strongly. So belief was a thing for her. She needed to change her belief and believe that she could do it. She was doing about 10 parties a month, which is a great number and keeps you very busy, and two consultants a month that were joining her team. So good numbers. A lot of times, or what you've heard, is the virtual parties don't always lend themselves to the amount of sales as a regular party. So she thought, okay, if 8 and 2 is good for live parties, then 16 and 2 would probably be the smart thing to do. And so she kind of started out slowly, but actually moved her business from 10 shows a month over the course of 6 or 7 months to 10 shows a week. And those are virtual parties. That's something that we couldn't even dream of doing if we were doing live parties and we were going into people's homes. So that's where her belief was. And Nancy, I think I was going to show a screenshot of some of those numbers. Let me see if I can grab that really quickly. I didn't pull that up. So if there's anything you want to add to that to get us started, please do while I'm looking for this little slide.
Sure. Yeah, Love Carpenter was absolutely amazing. And to see that kind of growth. And the really exciting thing right now going on with Pampered Chef is our company is growing. And there's a lot of people promoting to director really quickly. We have new executive directors popping out of the seams, as well as new senior executives and nationals. So the company is really growing. It's a great time right now to make this happen. And a lot of that growth is virtual. Most of the growth is virtual. So Sherry and I really felt that we needed to jump on this bandwagon. And we've really been working on our virtual businesses, me probably for the last 9 months, seriously. And then Sherry's also been doing it probably for a good 5 months now, I'd say. And we think we've really got the formula down. So this is what Love, here's some of the Love stats.
Yeah, she put these up on the board, and I think this is what really pushed us to, okay, we're not just hearing, oh, it's a good thing. When you put numbers behind it, it's pretty crazy. So 2018, you can look, she said her team averaged around 200 parties a month. So these were the numbers in 2018. She started really focusing on this in January of 2019. So they had almost double, 292. February, more than double, 470. March, 3 times as many parties, 772. In April, 4 times as many parties, almost 1,000. And then in May, 1139. So probably, more than 5 times the amount of parties on our team. So, and then at the end of the year, she shared that in all of 2018, they held 3,360. And honestly, many of us don't have teams that size, but maybe don't think of it as numbers. Think of it, if my team was having 5 times more shows a few months from now than they are now, what would that do to my business? So look at it from the perspective of where you are right now. And then in 2019, through the month of June, they held over 7,000. So this was 12 months, and this is 8 months. So significant, more than double in that amount of time. There were a couple other ones. This one, that was the number of shows. Here's sales volume. Last June, they had 120,000 in team sales. This June, 500,000. So in that 1 month, they did more than what they did in several. I think we did a third of what they did in all of 2018. So this isn't years, this is just months, you guys. So they're on track for 2019 to go to a $2.8 million team from, I forget what she said, maybe there's more numbers down here. So from two huge number growth. So anyway, let's see. Those are some of the things that she did. Here's one of her new consultants, because one of the things she's done with new consultants is say, hey, I'm so excited to have you joining my team. As a team, here's the way we do it. We get started with more virtual parties in our first week, 2 to 4, and every week thereafter we put 4 shows in for you so that first month is really strong. So here's someone that did that. Became a fast track director. She did 27 bookings. She had a $3,900 paycheck in her very first month of business. So when we have people who start the business like that, they want to stay, right? When you get that kind of a paycheck. So when numbers were put on the board in front of us at executive seminar, it kind of really made Nancy and I dig our heels in and want to teach the team members that we have, you that are with us, that are committed to wanting to change your business a little bit, teach them some of the things that we've learned. So I think that's it for numbers. It's just exciting. There were other speakers too, Cami Cruz, and I believe what Love said is she went from 14 directors in her organization to 67 in a matter of 5 to 6 months. 11 directors to 67 in that amount of time. So pretty darn, and a national team. So she went from an executive, she said a barely executive team to a national team in 5 to 6 months. And if you were at national conference, you got to see that team celebrate on stage, and they did it with the virtual business. So does that sound impressive or exciting to anyone?
Yeah, chat. We want to see some chatting going on there.
It almost seems unbelievable and unreal. Yeah, I see some raising the roof there. So very good. All right, Nancy, what's next?
Okay, let's see here. You see me, Sherry?
Yep, I see you.
Good, good. I don't see myself here. Okay, so one of the things that we learned that we really are working hard on, it's all about systemizing your business. We need systems for our organizations to really make this kind of growth happen. And that means systems for helping your new consultants get onboarded, as well as how to do a virtual party. So Sherry and I decided that we really needed to stick with this virtual party and get a good system. So let's see. What I wanted to say is we're really glad that you guys decided to come in, because you're kind of our first group that we're working with here. But you have to commit to this and stick with it. And look at this whole virtual party. I'm going to learn how to do this as a new job training period. And so I like to say this: if you got a new job and they give you a training period, are you going to put your heart and soul into it? Are you really going to learn how to do it right? And think of it as a grade. Do you want to give yourself an A plus in this class, or you want to slide by with a C? Or do you want to give your A plus with your business, or are you going to slide by with a C? So it's going to take a little time. And if you're not ready to do virtual parties, that's okay. We still love you. That's okay. You can do live parties and a combination of them. But the virtual parties, you do have to commit to it and learn this process because we know it works. So we're looking for your commitment. So what we'd like you to do right now is if you have any questions, go ahead and stick them in the chat. But you know, there's quite a few people on there. So if we miss them, we'll come back at the end and you can tell us, okay? So the first thing that I really wanted to share with you is about your calendar. To be successful at doing these virtual parties, I'm sure some of you have done 1, 2, and they're kind of like hit or miss. It might be good, it might be awful. So really, what happens is when you're doing a virtual parties, you want to do 4 of them at one time, okay? 4, not 1, not 2, but 4, because this is what happens. One's going to flop, one's going to pop, and then 2 of them will be average or even above average. And once you get the system down, way above average. So consider them as a set, that I'm not going to just do 1 party at a time. I'm going to do 4. And you're going to start with 4 parties per week. And then you want 2 sets a month. So let's say you decide to do your parties the first week and the second week of the month. Or maybe you want to do 4 sets every week. You decide what you want to do. You might want to start, slower and then gradually climb, because what's going to happen is that you're going to get bookings from your virtual parties that you'll put into that. So what you want to do is take your calendar and get that month view or your, whatever that day that you're going to start them, and actually draw 4 lines. Boom, boom, boom. That's what I do. I don't know if you can see this, it's kind of messy, but you can see I'm going to start my virtual parties today on the 9th. And then on the 23rd of October, and you can see my lines. These 4 are filled, these 2 are, and I have 2 more to go here. So you put the lines on what days you want to start, but make sure that you're working hard to get 4 of them at one time. Let's see here. So there's a new handout that in our virtual party success guide that Sherry and I rolled out. It's posted in our team groups. We changed things around a little bit over the last few weeks. And there is actually a new handout that separates how to get bookings for new consultants as opposed for seasoned consultants. So Sherry, would you mind sharing your screen right now and showing them that, please? Let's see, where's Sherry?
She's got a better offer.
Sorry, no, I'm here. I was just muted.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl.
I was going to show this one too.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Do you want to show that one first before we share the screen?
Yeah, because I have it up.
Oh, there we go. We like that.
So I think this has been in the Pampered Chef Dash for maybe a week at the most. We got a preview of it at Executive Seminar. And this is the whole idea. It's called take a screenshot or something, because it's hard to find, I think. Monthly, every 4, add 1 more tracker. So the whole idea is if you do 4 parties, there's a really good chance that you'll have 1 new consultant for it if you're following up and asking questions. But it's also a really good way to keep track of your parties. So if you're doing 4 parties in the cycle, like Nancy said, 4 parties in a cycle, you can put their names in these 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. What dates they're starting on. My next ones are all starting on October 10th. Did you check with the host 5 times about the opportunity? And then here's a way there you can kind of look for some people within that party that will be either bookings for you or potential consultants, and just jot down a few names on here. So this is something that you can keep close to your desk, and as you're working on your parties, use this. So it's called the monthly every 4 add 1 more tracker. It'll help you to keep track of where your parties are and which ones are going on at what time, and how to go back and look, do some customer care with these as well. Right. So I wanted you to take a look at that. And let me go to
our Google Doc.
Google is free. And we taught ourselves how to use Google Drive. And so when you have Google Drive, you can save things for yourself, or you can make a folder that's shareable. So this is our folder. That's our virtual parties, and it's got all these documents in it. So if we sent you all these documents, you go, that's too much, I can't do that. but instead we put them all in one guide to a successful virtual party. So Nancy, this is what I think you were looking for.
That's right. So let's just show them. So when you're working, whether it's for you or a new consultant, the number one thing that they need to do is get bookings on your calendar for virtual parties. So if you could click number 1, Sherry, the virtual parties, I think you'll like this. I just used this with one of my new consultants yesterday, and it was very effective. And actually, I sent somebody to this today. So this, the red personal message for new consultants, is we have some new wording to ask for those virtual parties that you can send via Facebook Messenger or text. And then we did leave what we had in there before, but we also added, if they say yes, this is what you say. If they say no, this is what you say. And that's what this yes and no is. So this is really good. It's verbiage that they can use. So when you are starting to book your virtual parties, look into this so that you know exactly how to get them right away. So then we have an existing consultant script. So this is for people that want to jump into the virtual world that are currently consultants, and different ways to reach out by personal message, different ways to post on Facebook, what you can say, 2 different things. So use it with your new consultants for the beginning, use it for yourself for the second part of it. All right.
These are the words that I used a lot to fill my virtual calendar. I've been thinking of you. Here's why. I've felt comfortable asking and thinking you might be willing to have an online party. It's easy and fun, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about a party? I'm slowly trying to transition, need a few good friends to help out. So that's some of the words that I used.
And I think that's great. So anyway, that's the one thing. So if you're not sure about the wording, you've got it there for new and existing consultants. The other thing, before you even go anywhere, you do have to look at your calendar and figure out how many days you want in your party cycle, okay? There really isn't a right or wrong. Usually the virtual parties last from 3 to 6 days, starting with day 1 of post, which is the warm-up. So the actual party starts on the first day that's posted in the party, and that's kind of the warm-up. So what happens though, so let's say that you decide you're going to start your parties, the warm-up on the 9th of October. I'm just picking out a date. So what happens before that? Because I didn't get this right for a long time, and I thought it was confusing. So hopefully I can explain this well. What happens before the 9th is you just can't start the party on the 9th and start posting. You have to do host coaching, because really, just like a live party, we always say, it's the host coaching is where you make your paycheck doing the party, just picking it up. So let's see, we need to mute somebody here. Okay, so anyway, so if the party starts on the 9th, what you're going to do is you're probably going to you want to host coach that party. And what we've found is that you're going to do a live host coaching call, okay? Pick up the phone and you're actually going to schedule it. Hold on for 1 second. There's some background noise. I want to manage this. Here it is. Okay. All right. I just muted somebody. Thank you. So anyway, we found out through experience that a live call for your virtual parties is kind of critical for success, because they end up sticking more. You end up, communicating with your host. You understand where she or he are coming from, what they want, and it really does have that personal connection. So we started doing that, and I think that's why Sherry and I's parties have been really good, because we're really taking the time to host coach them. If you're not sure what to say, we've got it covered. There's a wonderful new executive director named Trina Lutsky, and Sherry, if you could go down and hit Trina's script for us down there.
It's in number 5.
Yep. And literally, you guys, I have read this. Now I'm not reading it word for word because I know what it says. But right up there in the top, Sherry, a lot of people, scroll up just a little bit, where a lot of people say, well, they won't want to talk to me. This is, as soon as they book that party, you say about a week ahead of time, see where it says, hey, Sue, your party starts next week. Can't wait to see what you'll be getting. I'll need to talk to you on the phone for about 10 minutes to explain how this goes and to give you some important success tips. Are you available blank time or blank? If not, when would you be available in the next day or 2? That's critical because that really does establish your phone appointment. And for me, I like to do those maybe on Sunday nights or it depends on, but it's about 2 days before your party starts. Okay. And then what's happening between that coaching call and those next 2 days is she's getting or he's getting people into the group, because there's a certain way that you have to get your people into the group, and you're looking to get 40 party people, at least 40 people to click join. So that's what's happening before the party. And then your party actually starts running with your template on, let's say, the 9th or whatever you choose. And it would run the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then wrap up on the 13th or whatever you choose. But I believe, Sherry, the template that we're going to be providing is like a 5-day template. Is that correct?
I think there's seven. It depends. I think there might be 7 days to it, but day one is like, hey, welcome. We're going to getting started pretty soon.
Right.
And
So
day two is, we're still adding people to the party, and then there's about 5 days.
Post. So it's 5 days of actually the party post, but we're calling it a 7-day because it really starts the day that first post starts. But anyway, this is a script that Trina did, and the beauty of this is that she explains how this all works and the notifications. She also explains the importance of inviting and how to invite, and that you're going to send her a message. A message is going to be sent, and the host is actually going to personal message people to join the party as well as put them into the party, because that's the key. If you just dump everybody in, they all have to click join now. It's not like it used to be, but that personal message does make a big difference when they invite. So anyway, this what Sherry has right now, these are all the host coaching posts that you're going to send your host day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 to make this really easy. And it's pretty seamless once you get onto it, as long as you're following the script. Right, Sherry?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, I know. Yep. So this is all you have to do is click the link to get to this. And then when you click all these blue lines, you can open up and see details on how to do your parties. So this is something that's created for you to work your parties from. And I know some of you have seen this already, but it just, at least to do the first few until you figure out the system that's just right for you.
Right. And when you're using this, make sure that because I was talking to some people and it's just great. I'm glad I got this feedback. Some people were going in and just start opening all these links and looking at them and starting to understand them. They all go in order. So start at 1, because if you don't have any bookings on your calendar, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't make sense. And where you're going to find the guide, it is posted in all of our Facebook groups. Sherry, I have it. I believe it's pinned in yours too. Yep. So it's in my director group, my personal team group, Sherry's director group, her personal team group. So it's pinned there. It's called The Guide to Successful Virtual Parties. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
All right. Well, I think the top takeaway from this is there are some resources for you from our team. And the second thing is the way Nancy started was to work in those cycles of 4, because again, one's going to flop. We've all been there. We've had that one. One's going to pop, and 2 are going to be average. And so if you look at your virtual parties as a cycle or a group of 4, you're going to be much more satisfied. It's not, if you have 1 or 2 and you end up getting the flop and the average, you're like, man, that was just too much work. I'm not doing that much work for 200 in sales, and it feels awful. So we just, beforehand, we kind of looked at our parties for this week. Yeah. And Nancy's, let's see, where was it? She showed me hers. She had 4. Mm-hmm. 1 was at 0.
Yep.
There's the flop. 1 was at 95. That's not even to average yet. But her third one was at 1205, and her fourth one was at 1483. Pretty darn good. So if she'd have only done 2, 1 was 0 and 1 was 95, she'd have been calling me up and saying, Sherry, this is crazy. I'm not doing this. It's too much work for nothing. But the fact that she ran 4 at a time, she was at $2,783 for those 4 parties. Now that feels like a very successful series or cycle of parties. So we want you to feel this way too. And I think especially for some of you are saying, I've done a couple, but it just doesn't feel right. This could be the reason. So to go from there is what does a successful party look like? And I think we've all had to practice. Just a couple quick things on that one. Definitely work from your business page. You really need a business page. We don't want anyone to be Facebook restricted. Absolutely not. So go to that page. We do have a little YouTube that we'll be putting up about how to set up that business page and the why. We recommend that you subscribe to a posting service, because keeping track of that many parties will kind of make you crazy if you don't have a posting service. We are using Post My Party, and we're happy to share that kind of basic template that you can get started from. We probably are going to ask some of you to help us. You know, maybe I'll do a month, Nancy will do a month. If someone else can do a month, then we can just tweak it a little bit, and then we can send those out and use them, especially for our new consultants. What I want to say about the template is, and I don't know even a better way to explain it, maybe this seems silly, but it's like the seed. It's that first little tidbit that you get. That, you know, if you have a seed for growing peas or corn or whatever, you've got to do something to it. You can't just stand there and hold it in your hand and expect it to grow. You've got to plant it, and you've got to give it good soil, and you've got to water it and fertilize it and give it sunshine and keep the weeds out of it. And there are things that you have to do to it. So when we give you that template, or you get one from somebody, it's imperative that you do those things. You water and you fertilize and you give it sunshine and all of those things. Is it simple and easy and take zero time? No, we're not going to lie to you. It takes a little while to work on your template to get it right for you. Some of the things that we have learned to do with whether you start from scratch or whether you are starting from a template that you have are to vary the kinds of posts. Do one with pictures, do one with a blog, do one live, do one a video. So vary the kinds of posts that you use. And I'm going to give you some examples pretty soon. Learn this. That's number one. I think I'm going to give you 6 things here. The second thing is to learn how to edit pictures that you get and make them your own. You don't have to go crazy. You can. There have been times when I think I really want people to see the pretzel making thing or whatever. And I just set them out on my counter and take a picture of them if I'm worried that it's going to be, or use a picture from home office and change it. There's Canva, which isn't too hard. I think it's a medium difficulty. And there's WordSwag that I think is super simple to use. That's an app on your phone. You can Google how to use these different things, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on them, but those are the 2. Nancy says there's something called Facebook Pencil you can use, and there's the chats going on right now. If you want to write some other ones that you might be using already to edit pictures, you can just throw those over there in the chat so everyone can read them. That would be great. The third thing I want to say is there are certain words to avoid in your template because Facebook is constantly monitoring them. Words like prize and link and win, shop is one, tag, comment here, you're going to get tickets. Those are things that are kind of little flags that maybe if you do it a couple times, Facebook's going to say, oh, no big deal. But if you consistently use all those words, they might be watching you saying, oh, this person maybe is doing more selling than sharing. So be careful with those words as you change your templates. The next one is also kind of be cautious about how many times you use Pampered Chef. The name Pampered Chef. I've started doing P-Chef, or a lot of our products and pictures have the name Pampered Chef on them, so there's no need to say it again in your script like, oh, this Pampered Chef product, or this mix and chop. Sometimes instead of even saying the formal words, I'll say this little guy that chops hamburger. You know, instead of using that formal word, because we're just, again, trying not to put ourselves out there where Facebook is noticing all these formal words. The other thing, number 5, is keep your template flexible enough to add things that kind of enhance the flow, to create individuality within the party. So those are the things that we feel are really important. I'm going to share a couple things. I'm just going to share, Nancy and I went through this, and she said, Sherry, I think you should share some of these. Let me see if I can find them. These are some things from my from my last couple of parties. So in the beginning, let me just say some of these first, and then we'll go back, and these will be examples. So a successful party, again, the template is your seed, and then you're gonna build it. It's gonna grow different every time. You're gonna have different seeds, you're gonna have different, even though the same template's being used in all your parties, it's gonna look different in every single party. So what makes it you and unique? First of all, get to know your host. That phone call that you have up front is really key. Get to know your guests too, and allow them to get to know you. So the more they know you, the more they're going to trust you. So if you're just putting things up there and not putting yourself out there at all, not that I want you to get personal. That's the last thing I want. You know, no politics, no religion. Keep that out of it. But let them get to know you a little bit. Find out what they like and what they want to learn. And the way you do that is ask questions. Don't worry about selling that first couple of days. It's just you don't have to sell yet. You need them to trust you before you do anything else. Encourage conversations to happen. Thank people for commenting or their great ideas. Be sincere. You know, if it's really cool, say, "Wow, that was really cool. I'm going to use that in my kitchen." Ask questions and ask for answers. You know, if a question or something comes up saying, "I really don't know much about keto, but any of my keto friends out here, can you answer Meredith's question that just came up, because I can't." So ask for other people to help with those too. And that's kind of being intentional about pulling up people to chat. I think you need to make yourself available to be interactive, but I do also think 3 times a day is enough. Morning, noon, and night is plenty of time to be on there and to be answering questions and interacting. Complimenting their questions, thank them for participating. If someone's super participating, I'll just do a little message and say, "Hey, you are a rock star here. I am loving that you're helping Michelle's party, be so interactive. Thank you so much." And then be really observant of their interest in their things going on. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes. This is at the beginning of my parties, and I missed some of these things, but this is when you get that whole list of people that just joined the party that Facebook sets right aside for you. I'll say, "Hey everybody, welcome," but I want to use that. To me, that's prime territory because everyone is tagged on that one. So I'll say, you can't see this, "Hey, would you mind sharing what your favorite meal of the day is to cook? Is it breakfast, brunch, lunch, or dinner?" And then I say, "That'll help me know what tools to share. Thanks in advance." So not just share, but here's why. So then people will say something, "My favorite is evening." This was a kind of cute one. "Sometimes called supper, sometimes called dinner." So I responded back, "I wonder why that is. If you look that up, please report back here. That would be a fun tip to learn. Thanks, Barbara." So then she's back in here. "Here's one explanation found for supper versus dinner." So she comes right back and she puts this whole thing in here from the dictionary. So a couple other people comment. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wow, that's interesting. Thanks for looking it up, Barbara." So you can see, I don't know if it's said on here, we had 18 people commenting on this. So to me, that's good when I have 18 out of 40 people that are really commenting. Here's, "I like cooking breakfast." "Oh, what do you da-da-da." So that's one way to get people. Here's one, "I have a post on coffee," and I just put up there, "I'm out doing errands. I want some iced coffee now. Should have brought some with me from home." And a lot of times they'll go, "Yeah," and then sometimes I might say, "Do you make your own, or what's your favorite? Do you like Dunkin'? Do you like Starbucks?" So again, just getting to know people. Asking my host to picture something they've done. Like, "What do you have?" I'm like, what product do you have? And this one was really cute. This one had a ton of comments on it afterwards of they were making their own carrot sticks. And then I usually ask permission, like, "Can I use this in some of my other parties?" They're like, "Oh yeah, go ahead." So this little guy's been in a lot of my parties. So this is another one, like I put a lot of us, this was the day of favorites, and I love my prep bowls. So I had put at one party, someone said, "I love that. What's in that little thing?" And so that's the little like candy in it. And I said, "Oh, Kelly, it's candy, and here's what I do with it." And she asked me in the next party, "Can you share that teacher gift idea?" So I just say, "The photo on the right I make up at the holidays. you know, teacher, mail girl, FedEx driver, whatever, and then I put this little note on it. So I had done it in one party, and she remembered. She's like, put that back up here. Everyone should know that. And I think it just comes from experience. This is an interesting one too. We're talking about stoneware. What do you have? So look at this last one down here. I mean, people are saying, I love this, I love that. This one, good to know. I love all the ones I bought when Pampered Chef first came out. Going strong. The newer ones, not so much. So right there's a little message that I have on the side. And this lady, that was the party I just finished. Well, it's not done. It's at $1,600. She spent $600 on this party because she wanted a blender, but you know what? I don't want to miss the opportunity to make this lady happy and find out what happened, what's wrong. But you've got to ask the questions to be able to get to that point. Here's one. She's showing me her cupboard, and then we're talking about, wow, hang on to those cupcake stones. Guard them. They've been discontinued for a while, and people ask for them all the time. Okay. Here's good morning. She says, let's see, we eat a lot of eggs. So I go back. Do you live in an area that chickens are allowed? That would be fun. Well, that didn't go anywhere. I'm just showing you nowhere, 2 comments, but I opened the door. It could have. This is one of the games. I think it's Family Feud. So I have people answering, and I don't check it every day, but I went in there and I said, okay, you're doing good. Keep going. We don't have them all yet. So I'm just kind of pushing the envelope to keep the conversation going. This girl, the one with the stones, I'm up and ready to party. What's for brunch today? I'm like, geez, oh man, it's like 8:11. I'm like, she's ready to go, and so I just put, I met some team members at Panera this morning. What about everyone else's breakfast? When I have to make breakfast at home, this is my go-to, and I just threw a recipe in there. This one was a post about, kids who eat dinner with their families. This one comment, my parenting rules: family dinner, read every day from birth till they refuse, do chores. I'm like, hats off to you, Amy Austin. That's amazing. Here's help them get to know you. This is my 2.5-year-old. I'm like, I don't know what I said on it. Like, I don't know which is more fun, or who is having more fun, me or her. So here's this. This is the marinara sauce. And someone says, oh my gosh, yes, please, yum. And then I just said, okay, pasta can always be done that way. 1 pound of pasta, broth of water. So you can put your own tips in. I don't know, Nancy, is this plenty?
Yeah.
Here's a blog. We were talking about one-pot meals. I'm like, ooh, I know Pampered Chef has a blog. Just threw it in there. Here's a blog I found that has great dinners.
I think, Sherry, what I'm catching from this, and I'm hoping you all see it, she's done really a good job of interacting personally with this. And Facebook loves this. This is what they want. And I'm sure that Sherry's copying and pasting those in all 4 of her parties. I mean, it's the same post, and she's kind of commenting differently, but a lot of the comments could be similar. So it's not that difficult, when you're doing all 4. And she does a really good job of relating to her parties. And that's why she's getting bookings, because a lot of people aren't getting bookings. And you could see why she's getting bookings. It's like, oh, this is one of the best parties I've ever been to. Well, that's
good reviews.
Right. So,
and then when I ask at the end, when I go back and I say, oh my gosh, Donna, that was awesome, all the participation, or I say, you won one of the prizes and I'm going to stick it in the mail to you. How about if I stick a couple catalogs in with it and you can do a virtual party of your own? Donna says, sure, why not? That was fun. So I really am averaging 2 or 3 bookings from every party. And today I called her to schedule one girl from one of these parties, and she said, if you'll help me, I just think I want to be a consultant. No problem. So anyway, I didn't get to see, hopefully if you guys are commenting, somebody got to see those. And we just thought it was important that when you get to that secret sauce of getting lots of bookings and recruit leads, it doesn't just start there. It starts with how you're building your party. And Nancy's right. My 3 parties this week all had the same template. One of them's at $43. One's at 300 and I don't know what it was, 78, and one's at 1,562 or something like that. So again, the combination of 3 is getting around 2,000 in sales. It looks like Meredith has a question. Do you have a question, Meredith? Or comment? You're muted though.
She knows how to unmute.
Okay, so it's not really a question right now, but a comment. I took 6 months off, crazy, and I'm back. So about 2 weeks ago, Nancy sent me this document that they've been referring to, and it's brilliant. It's really, really clever. They have it so that every step you need to go through, you click on, and it tells you exactly what you need to do, which for many of us, we know what to do already. But as we build on new consultants who want to build businesses, they don't know exactly what to do. So I'm just blown away that Sherry and Nancy did this, honestly. Not that they're not brilliant women, but it's really, really good. And they got all the technology down brilliantly. And when you get to the Post My Party template that Sherry and Nancy have shared with us, it's honestly a great starting point. You need to go in and put in your own words, but it's like they have made it so easy for us. And I just really want to thank you for all of us for that. And like, I'm so set to go, and it's going to take, like, I've already put in probably 3 hours into changing your words into my words and your pictures into my pictures, but I know where to start because of what you and Nancy did. So yay!
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah.
That nice testimonial. And really, this is where the growth in the company is going. It's having a system in place to get our new people started. And we needed to get everybody on board with this. So that's why we're recommending that you use Post My Party, because if somebody else is using something different, and if you're all over the place, and we're not saying you have to, but if you're doing Facebook groups, then you can go in with our system. If you're doing something totally different, you're going to kind of rogue it out there, and it might take you a little bit longer. I'm not saying that that's okay. That's all right, but just kind of understand a duplicatable is a good thing. Go ahead.
Okay, I shared one link in the comments to show everyone how you can put your Facebook posts into bold and italics. I'll repost it right now. Mm-hmm. But just that little ability to be able to bold your first line or your middle line or whatever is important, it makes a huge impact on the visual how much people are actually going to read it. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. I'll go ahead and post it right now.
Thanks, Meredith.
Boom.
And I think there was a question here about...
No, that wasn't it.
Okay. About how much I change them. I change one day every month. So so the fun thing about that is too, and that'll be kind of the secret sauce we're going to talk about next week, is just like if you're at a party and it's August, you say, oh my gosh, wait till next month. Our new products are out. I'm so excited. So in my parties this month, I've been saying, oh, you're going to definitely want to be October, because apples and baking start, and oh my gosh, you should see the crazy fun Halloween recipes I have to share, and it's just going to be such a blast. So in your parties, you can really talk about next month, or you can say, like, this month we have a brand new secret product that's going to be launched on October 1st, or in the middle of October, you won't even believe what's going to happen. So you can build up the excitement for next month's parties in this month. So I change one day. I might tweak it a little bit, but I feel like even I use exactly the same template for all 3 or 4 if I'm doing that week, but they don't end up looking the same because the people in the party ask me different questions, or they say different things, or it just leads down a little bit different path. So I think that answered a couple of the questions for me. And I think everyone does them a little differently, but any other questions that you want to ask or comments? I see Roxanne and Marion. So Roxanne first, then Marion.
Okay, I don't really have a question. I just wanted to share with everybody, and I've said this before, but I've kind of been a little, I'll just call myself stubborn when it comes to the virtual party world. I was a consultant all those years ago, and what I knew and loved was my in-home kitchen shows. That will forever remain the same. I love it. I love being with people and that sort of interaction. But I'm also a realistic, knowing that this is where a lot of people's businesses are going. It's where people want to go to shop. So I've kind of been forcing myself to put more virtuals on my calendar, even if I really don't want them, which I do. But So, but the thing is, you can put as many on your calendar as you want. And I am still learning so much from Sherry and Nancy and everybody else out there who's giving us all this great information. But one thing remains the same that I know very well and have really put into action lately, and that is the host coaching part. I haven't done the live actual call yet, but I have slowly tried to develop a system for myself that works for me, and we all find what works best for us. And I've been still running my virtuals through events. However, my host coaching has gotten exponentially better. And I just wanted to share with you guys my September and the difference, because I was having more flops than successes when I was doing virtuals. And it was simply because I wasn't really doing my part working with my hosts. That's the bottom line. You can drip in there, oh yeah, you got to be involved. But if you don't go farther than that, that's as far as they're going to take it. So in the month of September, I had 10 virtuals on my calendar. And then I think I probably did 8 or 10 in-homes as well. And so I just wanted to share with you guys that every single one of those qualified because I host coached. And I can share with you guys a little bit about what I did, but I don't want to take up too much time. And so I just really quickly, while I was listening, kind of crunched my numbers a little bit. My lowest one was 240, so qualified, but barely. My highest one was 1,600. So my average out of those 9 that I did was $615. And for my virtuals, that was a huge success. So guys, they're giving us all the tools we need to do the party. The entire outline is there, but you have to obviously start with the bookings and then host coach.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, that I'm just barely getting to scratching the surface of it. So I'm really excited and so thankful that Sherry and Nancy are making this available to all of us, because what a blessing they are. So thank you.
You're so sweet.
And
That's nice.
Sherry, our expectations as leaders on this team is really to take this and embrace it. And I know we have some of our team members on this, because we hope that you work with your director that invited you to kind of be a virtual force together on your team, so that you're on your own bus driving this, because it's out there. But Sherry and I aren't the only bus drivers because we can't be. That's how we can grow a team, when you guys get out there and really embrace it and start teaching it and leading it through. And use your team members that are, you don't have to do it all. I could never do this without Sherry, and Sherry couldn't do it without me. So that's the beauty of this, is that you grab your team member or team members and start working it through. But you've got the skeleton, you've got the basis. And if we can kind of keep it moving that way, I think that we could have exponential growth. Maybe not Love Carpenter growth, but who knows? Maybe so, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and hit the homework. All right, so I've got some homework for you. Number 1, okay, know what to do. You know what to do. Who are you going to contact to get those parties on the calendar? And what are you going to say? You know where to go to find the words, right? Virtual success document. And here's the big thing. I always say, do you know who to call? Do you know what to say? But here's the one that gets most people. When are you going to do it? So I want you to calendar it. When are you going to do this? When are you going to put the time into it? Block it out of your calendar and make it a priority. So we want 1 week or less to get this done, to get your virtual parties, at least 4 of them, all in one cycle. And use that little sheet that Sherry showed you that the company came up with. So to fill the dates on your calendar, how many lines are you going to draw for your business? Is it going to be 4 in 1? We're hoping. But whatever you decide, write it down and put your lines in your calendar. And it's like writing goals down. Every line that you write is one that you're going to fill, right? Okay. So if you put down 4 or 5, you're probably going to get them all done. So reach out to fill those dates and the way that we suggested in our handout, and then review the template, okay? And work on making changes as we suggested. And this is going to take some time. And don't run that template like it is, because it will be a flop. and you're going to jeopardize our whole organization if you do. Plus, you'll look kind of silly because it will go very well as it is. But we've found that if you're doing this, do it uninterrupted time. If you've got, give yourself an hour with blinders on, I call it, because it really does take focus. And once you got that thing done, all you have to do is water it and tweak it here and there. But the initial time you've got to put in. And I think that's why a lot of us were struggling with this, because we weren't really putting the time in. We were just hoping it was going to fly by the seat of our pants. And it doesn't look so good when it does. Okay, so let me see here. And just tweak one day of post, not the whole thing, sitting down and do it for 8 hours because it gets overwhelming. So we're really going to wish you good luck. We're really proud of all you guys that are here. And directors, make sure you chat with your team members and check on how they're doing with this, because feedback for us is always very, very important. So, all right, Cherry, anything else before I stop the recording button?
Marion had a question I'm gonna come back to. We can maybe come back to it after we stop, but just, commit to that cycle, I think. And it's not, actually I feel so empowered and excited right now, more so than I have in a long time with my schedule, because it's just, I don't need to worry about where my sales are coming from, whether I'm gonna earn my trip or not, or whatever, because they're there and they're happening. So next week, we're really gonna talk about that secret sauce. In your party, you're building this great party and lots of communication. And I have to say, not all of mine are that way. Remember, I have a $45 party going right now with the same template that has a $1,600 party going. So they're not all perfect, but what was I going to say? That cycle of 4 is important, so that you feel like it's like you're getting somewhere, whether it's, the big one, the good one, or the not so much. So you're building this whole relationship. And then next week, we're going to talk about how you ask, kind of what you say. I probably have 4 different things I do in each party that I'll share with you. That
bookings, right,
like
Sherry?
one booking from each one. Like when I do this, 1 out of 3 people say, oh yeah, sure. When I do this, a couple more people say, yeah, I'll do it. So we're going to give you all that.
And the recruiting part of it too.
Yep, how to ask, basically how to ask without being pushy. So we're excited. So Nancy, let's stop the recording, and then Marion, I want to hear what your question was, or if anyone else has a couple questions, or if you got to go, because I know we're 4 minutes before an hour is up. So Michelle's saying.
I'm trying to figure out here something.
That's okay.
Oh, there's stop recording. All right.